Here we go. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Bloomerang TV. I'm Steven, I'm the VP of Marketing over here at Bloomerang. And really excited to be joined by our guest today. She is Betsy Rhame-Minor. She is a partner over at Nonprofit Media Solutions. She does a lot of communications consulting and a lot of awesome work. She's joining us from Atlanta. Hey there, Betsy, how you doing?
Hi, Stephen. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, sure. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I got all that right. You guys do a lot of great work over at your consultancy. You have a partner in crime over there. So what kind of work do you guys do?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. My partner in crime is Lori Aston, and together we're Nonprofit Media Solutions. We've been in business a few years now, and I'm in Atlanta and she's in Salt Lake City. So this Google Hangout thing is something we do a lot of. It's a great tool.
Pro.
Yes, we're pros at this. We're pros at this.
So what kind of consulting do you guys do?
I'm sorry?
What kind of consulting do you guys do over there?
We help usually small to mid-sized nonprofits with communications. We're looking to help them with consistency across a lot of different mediums. Sometimes that's social media, it's print publications, email newsletters, talking to people, just making sure that everyone involved in the organization is on the same page and they're talking about the same things in a consistent way to build a brand.
Great. And I'm looking at your website, and you guys put out a lot of great content, and you do a lot of speaking. And one of the topics you focus on is a word that I'm starting to see pop up a little bit around the sector.
Yes.
That's friend raising. And I know there's a lot of those fun combination words. I actually saw a new one yesterday that was something like philanthro shaming, and that was the first time I had seen that.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that doesn't sound good. Friend raising sounds a lot better. So
friend raising sounds more positive.
What is friend raising? Maybe you can explain that for people who may come across that here in the near future.
Sure. Well, it's a fun word to use, and it's got the word friend in it, so it's got to be a good word, right?
Right.
Friend raising is establishing relationships. It's nurturing relationships with people who are fans of your nonprofit or your cause. Your friends in your personal life should be your fans. They should be interested in you personally, and friends of organizations are much the same way. They're people who will jump up and down and shout about your cause and share your information because they consider you a friend.
Mm-hmm. So we're really talking about advocates for your cause, because the donor acquisition is so expensive these days, it seems like, and if you can get people like your friends to do some of that work for you, that's going to save an organization a lot of time and money, isn't that right?
I think so. We really believe in talking with your friends and people in your own network about organizations and causes that are dear to you, because it feels more natural. It's more comfortable than having to reach out and do the dreaded cold call.
Right.
That so many people don't like doing.
So how do you get those friends kind of mobilized? I mean, it seems like every nonprofit has friends, whether they know it or not, but how do you really get them going to do these types of things that you want them to do for your organization?
Well, when Lori and I talk with a nonprofit board or staff group about this kind of thing, we're talking with them about not thinking of it as something that needs to be a sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural part of a conversation. For instance, if you're a volunteer at a local animal shelter, it's as simple as when you're standing at the bus stop with your neighbors waiting for everybody's kids to get off the bus, and your neighbor says, "Hey, what'd you do this weekend?" It's very easy when you've volunteered maybe Saturday morning with the dogs to say, "Hey, well, you know, my family and I are really, really interested in animals, and we spent this past Saturday helping over at the animal shelter.
Right.
We got to play with the dogs. We got to feed them. A few of them got adopted. It was really great." And suddenly it's a conversation. It's not a sales pitch. The friend will probably then say, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that you did that," or "I didn't know there was a shelter so close to the house. How do you adopt a dog?" You know, the conversation feels very natural, but the person is able to give great information in a friendly way that's not a sales pitch,
right,
but gives the other people enough information where they can either continue to ask questions if they're interested, check it out online. They're more educated. They know about this thing that you do, that you're committed to.
So do you think that happens naturally, or does the nonprofit really kind of have to coach the friend or the volunteer or the donor to talk about those things? It seems like you don't really get what you don't ask for. So should nonprofits be telling volunteers, hey, you're standing at a bus stop and someone asks you what you did this weekend, you should tell them that you volunteered here. Is that a good thing to do?
Right. Well, yes. We want to get people to think a little bit ahead about a few things they could say when an opportunity does naturally come up in the conversation. So what if that animal shelter conversation, what if the neighbor says, well, gosh, what happens if these dogs don't get adopted? If you know the answer, then perhaps that tugs at their heartstrings. If you know how many dogs the shelter can hold and how many dogs might get adopted every week, if just knowing a few of those key points off the top of your head that you've prepared a little bit for, but yet it still feels natural, gives the other person some good information without it being a real sales pitch.
Right. So you really got to equip people with some of those facts and figures. That's good.
Yes.
And you mentioned boards, and I know you do a lot of board training. It seems like the board should be your number one friend raisers, right?
Yes, that's what we're always hopeful for, that board members are really the boots on the ground. They're people who know people, are well connected, are good at just telling people about a cause, about an organization. They're not necessarily in the trenches every single day cranking out the emails, administering the programs, sending out donor thank you letters necessarily, though sometimes board members do help with those kinds of things. But we're hoping that board members are there really talking and getting the relationships formed in a community.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's say, people follow your advice, they get this kind of thing going, and you work with a lot of nonprofits. What kind of mistakes do you see people making? What are some common mistakes that you see people maybe do when they're trying to get this sort of advocacy program type thing going?
Right. One of the most common practices I see that I wish we didn't see quite so much of is, let's say an organization, a board member they're 2 months away from the big annual event. That's their major fundraising event for the year. And a board member starts sharing links to buy tickets or links to donate to the organization. And it's constant. It's in their Facebook feed. It's all they're talking about in person when there's a real push for that event. And some people get turned off by that. Some people scroll down through their Facebook and see, oh my gosh, that's okay. This thing is all I'm hearing about from this person. What a better way to do that would be to just share a little bit of information all year long. Maybe post a picture from a volunteer thank you event that you went to in January, and then in a few months later, if it's appropriate, maybe some statistics or an article, or reshare a blog post the executive director put up. So it's here and there, but it's consistently all year long. So your people in your social media friends will know that you're involved in that organization or that cause. If they're curious, they'll click on the link and check it out. And then in a few months, when you're posting some links to buy tickets or donate, it's not a foreign concept to them. They're already aware of that person's commitment to this particular thing. Rather than every day they send something out. You got a board member who's a little too overzealous. You might have to, hey, take it easy. Just share it every once in a while. Yeah, that approach definitely works better. I find in just marketing in general. Okay, so cool. Well, now people know what friend raising is. So if you see that word, you're a pro on it now.
Where can people find out more about what you and Lori are up to? Where can people learn more about friendraising?
Well, we've got a beautiful website that my partner Lori has recently taken the helm on redesigning. You can find it at nonprofitmediasolutions.com. We're on Facebook. You can find us there too. And then our Twitter handle is @yournonprofit.
Cool. We'll link to all that in the blog post. And
Okay.
yeah, follow Betsy's advice. Get those advocates going. They'll do a lot of good for you, right?
That's right.
All right, cool. Betsy, this is a lot of fun. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Stephen. This is great.
And tell Lori we said hi.
Will
And
do.
we'll catch everyone on next week's episode. We will talk to you then. Check out Betsy
Great.
and Nonprofit Media Solutions. You'll learn about fundraising there. So we'll talk to you next week. Bye now.